One day, 3 episodes of black on cop violence. We begin in Pittsburgh, where one of the most popular members of the Pittsburgh law enforcement community was killed by a knife in the performance of his duties.
Paul, police say this all started as a scuffle between a father and a son, and there was beer involved. It ended with a canine officer stabbed to death and the man who stabbed him shot to death.
When he was out here and they kept telling him to get down, and he just kept looking at him.
Police say 38-year-old Bruce Kelly Jr. and his father got into a scuffle that got police attention around 3:30 Sunday afternoon. They got away from police once, and eventually Port Authority police caught up with them again near the Hamnet Place stop on the East Busway. Police say Kelly refused police orders.
The gentleman that ultimately was shot was tased by a couple officers that had no effect on him. He had a heavy Carhartt jacket on.
You heard it. You clearly heard it hit the hitting, because it makes that. It's a very distinctive sound. And then not even 45 seconds later, you heard the gunshots.
Police say when the tasing didn't work, they released the canine officer in an effort to capture Kelly.
At that time, they released the dog on the man, and he had a knife and he stabbed the dog. The dog went down, and the officer shot and killed the man.
Right now, police don't know how many times Kelly was shot or how many times Aaron was stabbed. The dog was taken to a nearby veterinary facility where the 5-year veteran of the Port Authority force was pronounced dead. He was not wearing a protective vest at the time of the stabbing.
It's a horrible thing. I mean, he's a member of that officer's family, and he's a member of the law enforcement family.
Bruce Kelly Sr. was captured eventually along the busway, but it's not clear tonight if he will face any charges.
I panicked, and I just started screaming, and I ran in the house.
Reset. Arms!
Police surrounded canine officer Aaron in a solemn farewell late Sunday night. An autopsy will be performed by the Allegheny County Medical Examiner.
Well, new details tonight. We're getting a first look at a man arrested for shooting a Richmond police officer overnight. 32-year-old Keith Smith Jr. is facing 3 felony charges. He's accused of shooting an officer in the leg during a foot chase in the Brooklyn Park area.
Shots were returned by one of the officers in the group. So there was an exchange of gunfire, but it was a return of gunfire by our officers after he was shot at and shot by that person.
This headline makes this example seem, well, a little bit on the innocent side. So, a woman attacks 3 cops. No big deal. Well, let's look at the before and after of this and see how nasty it was. This story out of North Philadelphia, a black neighborhood in Philadelphia. Cops get summoned to one of the local bars where 50 to 100 black people are in the parking lot fighting, shooting guns. They later found 11 shell casings at the scene. They tried to break up the fight. One of the guys started yelling, "I'm black, shoot me, I'm black, I'm black." Now these let-out fights after bars close, these are happening in every larger city in America every night. Just like this. Violence, sometimes gunshots. The cops show up, defiance, fighting the cops. This wasn't really any worse than most of the ones we talk about. Here's how the paper describes it. As officers entered the fray and tried to break up the fight, one man became belligerent. Said, "Shoot me, shoot me." The crowd then turned on the officers, and the man advanced on them with fists balled into a fighting stance. Then they used pepper spray. The woman got involved. She punched the one cop in the head and the back. She ran. They were apprehended. Just another day.
Hi, Bob. Police say a guy with a gun busted into the home around 5 this morning inside a mother and her young children. This morning, police tape not only marks a deadly police shooting, but the first police-involved shooting of the year.
I don't know what to say about this.
Police say a man identified by the medical examiner as 29-year-old Charles Smith busted into this Inglewood bungalow near 73rd and South Paulina early this morning with a gun. When officers got there, they exchanged gunfire. Police hit and killed Smith.
From what I hear, don't nobody know him from around here.
One neighbor told the Tribune Smith may have been the boyfriend of the woman who lived at the home.
Well, she's a nice young girl. She just moved around here.
Neither the woman or her kids were hurt. Police say they did find the gun Smith fired at officers.
Oh, you holding a woman and a baby in there, and then they shooting at the police? Right. Yes, that's justified. He's shooting at the police. That's a death wish.
And this just in from a Chicago cop who sent me this story. Colin. Friends on the scene said it was chaos, yet the family said he didn't have a gun until he did. Then they were mad that they shot him. Why didn't they use their tasers? People at the scene wanted to know. You can't bring a taser to a gunfight, says the cop. Lots of abuse directed at the cops during this encounter. Abuse, physical and verbal abuse is now a standard operating procedure for what happens when a cop rolls into a black neighborhood. And a lot of people want to make it way, way, way more complicated than a solution I heard the other day from Anthony Cumia when I was at his new studio in Manhattan. Behave. This is Colin Flaherty. If you're in Chicago, you see a lot of people giving grief to the cops, throwing things at cops, threatening cops, yelling at cops, pointing their fingers and pretending they're shooting the cops, yelling CCK, Chicago cop killer, at the cops. This is a black thing in Chicago. If you see that happening, remind them of what Anthony Cumia said. Behave. And one more thing, if you get a chance. Tell everybody else in Chicago, Colin said, don't make the black kids angry.